Hi there. This is Mondian Astral Oracles coming to you with an Arcturian Ascension update. And I'll just do some practical announcements first. I'm actually happy to do these Ascension updates. I just forget because I try to let my intuition guide this, and the more so after I've kind of figured out how to maintain my boundaries in this practice. So I think I also promised Jochen in a comment that I will do some videos on star seeds, but I'll do it when I feel like it, if I feel like it. And you guys are of course always welcome to show up during the charity work, or I mean that kind of religiously, like the Caritas or the Zakat, the idea of doing something for the world that's free, and that's an important practice. But I would like to answer questions within that space, and if you want to explain myself in writing, or you want to get detailed advice, you can pay me. Other than that, you can also, I think, Cryon of Magnetic Service, I love that guy. He has done a lot of channelings on, brought a lot of information through around starseeds and the like in the many years that he's been guiding us. So I think if you type that into the search field, you'll get some excellent information too. Other than that, good to be here. Thank you for being here too. And let's bring in the Arcturians and hear what they have to say about August. Yes, hello friends. This is Umblam of the Arcturian Council coming straight to you from the ninth dimension to read the energies of the people tuning in and the collective in your experiences as they will unfold during this coming month of your time, this August. See, for most of you tuning in, it is still summer and it is moving into fall, but you may experience the heat also loosening up a lot of your faculties, pushing your boundaries. That is, the things that often keep people contained within themselves is a type of tension pattern that's amplified by low temperatures. And when you move into higher temperatures and you feel yourself sweating and you feel yourself taking in more liquid, you are in many ways also allowing the body to purify itself. That is, to expunge what is no longer needed for you, and that actually means coming into a higher degree of authenticity. And so when you find yourselves sighing under the sun or sweating profusely, you may also find that, well, there is a tiny note of truth that is growing ever more present in your experience. And how does truth feel? It feels like exactly that thing that can't be denied. And it has been a theme for our friend here, but it is also a theme that is very, very present for many of you in the collective. What is truth exactly? Well, it's different for each and every one of you how this signature expresses itself in your life, but it is indeed the undeniable that presents itself and requires for you to take actions that are not necessarily very pleasant or do not necessarily yield any immediate reward, but they seem to, it is a feeling and it's a presence that seems to dictate that you release what no longer serves you. And therefore it will be important for all of you that you discipline your attention within these coming months. But indeed in the month of August you will feel that there is a type of, you are placed on a type of precipice and you don't necessarily know whether or not to creep back into the world that's submerging behind you and you are no longer able to find shelter there, and or that you actually have to take the jump into the wide expanses of heaven and the unknown, and the risk that your previous apprehension of yourself it gets splashed on the rocks. And then do you actually believe in the resurrection of yourself within your mind? We are not talking about a physical resurrection or any type of miracle. Yet to you it might seem miraculous that you are not only able to restructure yourself so rapidly, but you are actually able to receive the influx of energy, the guidance, the presence of the entities that you have already been seeking out, and indeed your own guides who wish to seek you out and communicate with you. Well, this is the truth of multidimensionality, that you are becoming more and more interconnected with those eternal parts of yourself. And those eternal parts of yourself, well, they are having a multitude of experiences, many of them as your guides, and many of them come from higher dimensional vantage points. That is, they're able to observe you in perspectives that greatly serve you. They're able to discern what it is that you may need to let go and what it is that you should indeed hold on to in these times of change. So if you feel there is nothing to hold on to, then hold on to your heart and let everything else go, because that will not lead you astray. And what is your heart dictating? It is indeed dictating to thine own self be true. And then we come, of course, to a point of definition, because what is this self of which you are speaking? Well, there's certainly some confusion around these concepts in human language, but let us use what our friend here is informing us is the Jungian term, discerning the self from the ego. The ego is indeed all those patterns of tension that exist within you. They are all those patterns of identification. They are all those narratives that you feel you need to cling on to. And how do you discern these narratives? Well, you discern them by them seeming forceful and oppressive in your experiencing and growing ever more so. That is, lending a phrase again from our friend here, try to replace the demons of need, shall, should, and have to with the angels of could, want, and will. That will greatly serve you in this time. Remember always that you are a free agent playing on an open playing board. You are free to both write the rules, you are free to change the playing board, and you are indeed free to move the pieces as you want to. The only opponent you have here is indeed yourself, and the more you begin to identify with this duality of your being, both being on the inside and on the outside of the game as it is played, the more you will be able to connect to this multitude of your experience, the more you will be able to become a truly multidimensionally aligned being seated in the center of the circle. Always this circle is widening, always consciousness is expanding, and yet the center remains still. This is how things work within human consciousness, and indeed within the most patterns of consciousness that you connect to, your astral bodies and many other types of beings that have been teaching you about, well, what it means to be a conscious being. Well, what it means is partially to remain fixed and focused in one experience, and at the same time allowing for the circle around that experience to be malleable, to adapt to the energies, to act as a type of membrane that, well, expunges what it does not need and then takes in the new energies that it does need. Allow for this to be an organic process. And we know, both a friend of our collective and indeed a friend of the show here, that we are performing on the stage that we are working through, this weird type of medium you call a YouTube channel. She posed the question recently whether or not to know that the light beyond the cave of the shadow manifestations, returning to Plato's, we are image of the cave, we are missing the word at present from scanning this mind parable, we believe, then it is then, well, how do you deserve that there are not other shadows out there that you are then chasing, that you actually went in the wrong direction, or it was the wrong light source you chased? Well, you come into your heart, and also know another way you can do it. And we know this may sound quite cruel, but returning to those visions of wisdom from antiquity, notice that these cultures and the ancient Greeks, they had no problem with stating and discerning and actually orienting them around the fact that a person's physical manifestation, that is their bodily outward appearance, is an expression of their soul. And so if you feel repelled by a certain ugliness, then examine, well, is this an ugliness of spirit that I'm repelled by, or is this my superficial attachment to surfaces that makes me dislike that this person who I do not find visually appealing or aesthetically appealing, that they are teaching me about my own frailty, humanity, and movement towards death? Well, there is a discernment here, but know as you become multidimensional, more and more light comes through the physical body. And so it's always helpful to remember that happy people actually appear pleasing to your senses, even though they may not be put on the cover of any fashion magazine. There is a type of energy that runs through them, and know that the current dominant currents that run through an energetic pattern, such has been discerned in your school of biodynamics and or bioenergetics and other such disciplines, they actually form the physical body. The physical body can take any shape, but it has to align with its energetic currents. And so if you feel somewhat repelled or feel that there's a demonic grin meeting you, or something scary that, well, is sort of teaching you that here I am in the presence of something that does not have my best interest at heart, if you are that confused, it is not a bad way to navigate through these very, very changing times. Know that this August will also be a time of great rewards for those of you who have already done the work. So this means that as these energies ramp up, manifestation indeed becomes more rampant. And if you have been holding on to a lot of things, then a lot of things will be taken from you, or you will feel a great confusion and pain related to this. And if you have been dismantling things and allowing for a new awakening to take place already, you will feel the influx of these energies as very rewarding. And know, to quote a famous poet of the 20th century, that what thou lovest well shall not be reft from thee. So everything that is indeed in accordance and in connection with your heart, those things, they will remain, they will grow and become more meaningful. But you will see that, well, the low vibrational energies, they can no longer sustain the structures of rigidity that has been surrounding you. And so allow yourself to let go and allow that energy to flow and come into your expression. And for a few of you, this may even mean that, well, you actually wish to become very, very active. You wish to use this forceful energy that arises within you to also mobilize, and know that an experiment is indeed has been playing out. And while you saw, well, for the longest time, for those of you who were discerning, you saw an opportunity in what you have called the COVID crisis to actually find new and better ways to come in contact with yourself, to deal with being shut off, to deal with being less active, to figure out new and positive ways to work and to be at home and to connect as a more holistic being from your home to your workplace. But now the energies of this project is always also moving into the place where a lot of previous authoritarian patterns are being condensed into a singular experience that you get to play around with. So how do you want to deal with the patterns of control and authority, knowing that indeed all these patterns, they only exist by either the tacit or the implicit approval of individuals who allow them to be. And some of you may feel that this is your call forward, it is to become socially active. And remember in this activity to always hold on to a positive vision of what you can be and what humanity should be. So do not tear down without anything to replace it. Because what is indeed the positive feeling that you are moving into, all of you, it is this idea of human autonomy, of truly being the center of your own circle, connected as an unbroken strain of rings to other individuals, and thereby being a part of the brotherhood of men. All of you are wonderful, beautiful, shining beacons of light in our eyes, but we are aware that some of you discern that better in yourself and in others than others, and therefore turn yourself to the frequency of light and begin to notice how it is either vivid or obscure in different individuals, and then meet them with compassion and try to awaken that light within them by shining your own flame strongly within that center which you always occupy and always hold. Therefore, shine bright and shine on, dear human beings. I, Umblam of the Arcturian Council, and all of my Arcturian brethren, we bless you and we offer you our guidance and our love whenever you turn your attention to it. Many blessings to you this day. Peace.